Tax happy hour. Dig.
Oh, hello there. I didn't see you. It's Brian Brushwood live in Austin, Texas for Happy Hour. Joined because it's Thursday and Justin's over at DTNS hanging out with Meryl Barr. What's up, Meryl?
Woo, how you doing? You're rocking a samurai look
Yeah,
today. I've never seen you with a bun before.
Yeah, well, everybody calls it a bun, but to me, it's still a ponytail. I thought it wasn't a bun until it like circles around on itself or something. But
I feel like the delineation on that is the length ultimately. Like if there's a point where a bun stops looking like a bun and becomes a tail.
yeah,
And it's that
and
it's that
right now it's just barely off my shoulders. It just
yeah,
gets so warm on the neck.
it's that thing. It's just that thing where it's like porn. You know it when you see it. Like I'll know you'll know it's a ponytail when it becomes a ponytail.
Yep.
It's not there yet. We have breaking news.
Uh-oh. Da-da-da-da.
So Disney's doing their investor call right now.
Yes.
And so, which is like, this is because there was no Comic-Con this year and no Star Wars Celebration. This is like their first opportunity to actually have like all right, here's the update. So update one is Disney Plus is up to 86.8 million subscribers.
How does that rank? Do you keep tabs on who's
That's
winning the
that's really
subscriber
good.
wars?
For 1 year, that's really great.
Oh, sure. I mean,
Like,
certainly for a launch, grading on a curve. But do we know where that ranks them? I mean, I assume not ahead of
don't know
Hulu,
if
probably fourth or
top
fifth
five.
place. Yeah.
It's definitely top five. I don't know if it's top three. Someone in chat can look that up for us, but it's definitely top five.
Okay.
Two, there will be 10 Marvel, 10 Star Wars, uh, 15, 15 Disney
You are
and
not about
Pixar.
to say this year.
No.
Okay.
There will be in the next few years on Disney Plus. There will be 10 Marvel series, 10 Star Wars series, 10 Disney Pixar series, and 15 Disney Pixar movies.
Yep.
The interesting part that this whole like Disney and Star Wars, I mean Marvel and Star Wars, there's more series coming. We are aware. The interesting one to me is Pixar getting into the series game. Which is not something they do. They do one-off TV specials, but they don't do TV series.
They also
so.
do follow-up standalone vignettes, kind of following the further
Yeah.
adventures of various
Yeah,
characters.
but-
So it's not the wildest thing, but you're right. I would place this as equivalent to the announcement of The Mandalorian as a Star Wars, regular series. It was surprising, but also not surprising. Also,
Right.
I will be not surprised if it's as good and as awesome as The Mandalorian has been, because Pixar has when they try, they have a very good track record.
Now, here's the thing we can talk about, and I will stress that this is all happening right now, and I've got the Twitter feed open, so there may be more updates throughout the hour. But they announced that Raya and the Last Dragon, the Disney animated movie they were going to put out, is now going to be theatrical and Disney Plus premiere.
Okay, so
Which
day
is, to
and
me-
date release.
Day and date, but the same thing they did for Mulan, where it's going to be behind a paywall.
Wait,
You
they're
have
gonna
to
make you
add
they're gonna make you pay for
extra. Yeah, pay extra.
Wow.
So that to me, that is the sign that there's not going to be a day and date announcement like full stop HBO Max style today.
Yeah, because if they were going to do something that big and loud, they certainly would have bundled all of that in.
Yeah.
And once you announce a $30 early access fee, like, I mean, that you don't end that show with also everything else is free. Like nobody's excited about that.
Yeah. So Raya and the Last Dragon get it. So that means that they're gonna keep with that Mulan model, and they're sticking their. This sounds like the kind of move the person in number one position makes. They're like, we're number one. We're just gonna keep being number one. We're always gonna be number. It's that classic number one fallacy of we're number one and we're always gonna be number one.
Man,
Like-
that I cannot believe I'm thinking these thoughts, but it makes me wonder if HBO Max isn't going to be positioned to swoop up and overtake Disney Plus just based on their day and date thing alone.
They will be positioned. They will not overtake until HBO Max is rebranded as HBO. When that happens, that's when the overtake begins.
Well, we'll put a pin in that because nothing about the branding of HBO Max indicates to me that anybody is wise enough to make that decision. Also,
They will in
also
time.
it would fundamentally like HBO has been do or die on building up the HBO brand, and I'm already shocked that they would allow it to be corrupted with the addition of the word Max. Um, I can't believe that they would give up those core three letters. That would be amazing,
Well,
because
they're not really
HB
giving
like
it up. They're
oh
just
no, yes, they would be giving up because their entire for decades it's not TV, it's HBO. And then now you're saying that HBO Max, the thing that is HBO plus garbage, would become called HBO. So just throw out it's not TV, it's HBO, and now it just becomes it's TV.
so there was ultimately a price. There was a. This is where like the old model bit Warner Brothers in the ass because HBO was $15 a month for anywhere you went, whether you went through cable or over the counter. I'm sorry, over the top. It was without prescription. It was $15 a month. They could not price their streaming service under $15 a month and have it have HBO at the same time. So their options were, well, HBO is like going to be the driver of this streaming service over the summer out of the gate. We don't have anything else that's going to be as powerful as the HBO brand. So it has to include the HBO stuff. But that means that we can't price it below HBO
Right.
because that's also a problem. So I get why they did this. They did it because they knew HBO was going to be the driver, but they couldn't price it below HBO. So they had to do that weird thing that they did. And this is why I think this is a long game to eventually get to the place where HBO Max is rebranded. They have to first build back the brand trust, which is what this 2021 movie slate thing will do. And
Right.
then I think come middle 2022, end of 2022, we get the announcement. All right, everything is now just HBO. We're dropping the HBO standalone
No,
app.
no way.
That's
Well, yeah, okay. Let's explore that. But real quick, fearless underscore freep in the chat says, honestly, I'm very happy with Max's catalog. And yes,
great catalog.
understand that there's a difference between the quality of the thing and the logic of the branding of the thing. And so we all agree. In general, I haven't met anybody who didn't find HBO Max as a very pleasant environment. And but if you oh man if HBO Max, so why would you drop the Max? What do you gain by completely corrupting just the name HBO, and what do you get by losing the word Max?
You gain, you actually, I think what you gain is the simplification of the brand. Right now, when I say something is on HBO, you're already going to be likely going to HBO Max anyway to watch it,
Okay, no, no, no.
right?
And I would counter that it's already perfectly simple. If you tell me something is on HBO, I know that if I get HBO, I can see it, and I logically will assume that if it's on HBO, I'll certainly see it on whatever HBO Plus Max, whatever is.
But if
Like
there's a great thing on HBO Max, I have to tell you it's on HBO Max specifically.
that's correct. So after years of building up that call and response, why would they undo that?
I don't think it's undoing it though. I think it's just re-simplifying it. Like I think it's not doing something, it's undoing the mistake.
Uh, man, it's again, it's a Cadillac that comes with a free pack of Twizzlers. Why
They
would you?
should
Why?
have
Okay,
done.
like I understand. Here's the problem: is HBO is the Cadillac, and HBO Max is when you buy a Cadillac, you also get a pack of Twizzlers, 35 old gummy bears, and a broken toy. Why would you now stop calling the Cadillac and instead insist that only that whole package should be called Cadillac? You can never expect to buy a Cadillac that doesn't come with a free pack of Twizzlers and 5 broken toys.
I don't know, man. Look, if it was smart, if anyone there was smart, what they should have done is just expanded the HBO brand in general and just said, we're just gonna because they're already on that path. You could get HBO over the top. You could, you could get it through your cable. Like they should just added everything to HBO. And there was just, I don't know why they didn't just do that.
And I
Like just
don't
made
know that I
HBO
could
their brand.
disagree with you more. It's like you work for like I mean, nobody wants to buy a Rolex that also comes with a Swatch. Why?
You act like there's never been bad things on HBO. There's been a ton of bad things on HBO.
Well,
You just
yes,
don't think about them because
but
we
it
also
was
have a bunch of good stuff.
never old, tired, played out in syndication, garbage found on the side of the road, throwing it in there because we just want to fill out a back catalog.
Friends,
Yes, that's
South
exact.
Park.
Man, look, for every one of those, I can find you something older and worse. And again, um, technically, okay, for example, and this is when it comes to branding, it's all when you're dealing with psychology, you're not dealing with the realm of logic. For example, there's one experiment where there's two test conditions. In one test condition, all the subjects placed their hand in freezing ice water for 60 seconds, and then they had to hold it, and then they had to pull it out. Then everybody was given a second condition where they had the exact same thing. They put their hand in frozen ice water for 60 seconds, but then they flooded everything with slightly warmer water, like 15 degrees warmer. And so it was 30 more seconds. So test condition one is 60 seconds in freezing. Test condition two is 60 seconds in freezing plus 30 seconds of slightly less freezing. Then they said, okay, you have to repeat one of those two experiments. Which would you do? Now, logically, you and I both know that logically you would do the 60 seconds of freezing and then it's over with. But everybody picked the 60 seconds of freezing plus 30 seconds of less freezing, even though it made no sense. So likewise, logically, a Cadillac plus a Twizzlers is a better deal because you get the free Twizzlers. But logically, all anyone sees is the reduction of value of the Cadillac.
I don't know. I just don't know if I feel that way about it. Because, all right. Also, I don't have the love affair to HBO you have. I should stress that. I come from my brand association with HBO is, oh, that was the place that had The Wire and Sex in the City and Sopranos. Cool. What else you got? Like, because it also had Entourage. It also had, which everyone universally hate watched. It was like the first hate watch experience as a culture everyone had
Oh
was watching
man, I
Entourage.
think you're too young to remember people unironically watching it. I think you've yeah, no, their Entourage was a thing, an unironic thing.
And look, mind you, that prior to The Sopranos, the whole joke about HBO was, "Hey, Beastmaster's on."
Uh,
Like,
yeah, but that was true for the movie channel, for Showtime, for Cinemax, for all of those.
so it's like it's not like there hasn't been a time where HBO was not just made fun of for being like, why? Like
I mean,
HBO is a
you're confusing quality of material for that their brand didn't promise quality material. It promised to be a home box office. And so as a result, like, yes, that meant bad movies as well as good movies. And they certainly showed Short Circuit 2 more times than Short Circuit 1. But what they never did was play tired MASH episodes. And this is all HBO has done, has figured out the 21st century's MASH and thrown it in there. And I do perceive that matters to undo the name HBO, which again, and maybe it'll work out for them. That's usually what brands do. But why they would give up the Max and fully adopt, like, HBO now means a bunch of old reruns and also exclusive originals and also day and date releases. Like, the problem is at that point, at least with HBO, like, I know what HBO is. Like you just said, it's The Wire, it's Sex and the City, it's The Sopranos. I know what HBO Max is. It's everything I love about HBO plus some garbage plus also day and date releases. But why would I give up knowing what HBO means is the part that I'm not following you into.
one is I disagree that HBO Max has garbage, and I don't think the read has been garbage. I mean, they've got a bunch of stuff in there people have been loving since it came out. So I don't know if I necessarily follow you on that track. As far as what it do to turning HB the brand into garbage, I don't think the association will go that way. I think the association will just become, oh, this is where I go for HBO now. It's now this app, which is also called HBO. And then in the long term, because this is also about a long game, 5 years from now, it will be HBO, and then everyone will just come to accept, oh, this is HBO, and they have a ton of great stuff.
Well, and there's an example in his book, Predictably Irrational. Dan Ariely talks about the subscription model that The Guardian offers. And oftentimes, to psychologically keep people in the fold, it makes sense to offer a really dumb offer. They used to offer, hey, do you want the digital version of The Guardian or do you want the print version of The Guardian? And then they switched to some ridiculous system where it's like there were three options, but two of them were the same price. And one of them was just the digital version of The Guardian, or you get the digital version of The Guardian and the print edition for the same cost. Now, they never admitted that like they intentionally set that out. And everybody who went through it was like, this is dumb as hell. Why would I ever pick just the digital version of The Guardian? I'll take both. Thank you very much. Who's smart? Me. And Guardian was like, yes, you're very smart. Thank you for your credit card information. And what I'm saying is I never see HBO giving up the word max, because what they'll do is, if anything, they'll price the two the same. Like, you want HBO? Great. HBO, it's $15 a month. You want HBO Max? Great. It's $15 a month. And then everybody out there says, what? Why would I just go for HBO when I can get HBO Max for the same price? And HBO will say, wow, you're very smart. Thank you for your credit card info.
I think that's true right now. 5 years from now, this is where I'm saying HBO Max just gets turned into HBO Straight, and the existing HBO standalone item, be it through your cable or through your OTT app or whatever, that will get sunsetted, and HBO Max gets rebranded as HBO, and it's all just
Wow.
HBO.
So wait a minute. So if I have, you're saying, hold on. So
were you was I not making that clear? Like,
no. Okay, because unfortunately, I'm hearing you loud and clear, and what you're saying now seems even crazier and less believable to me. So if I already have, so everybody who's paying for HBO in all formats will one day just suddenly also have episodes of Friends and stuff.
Yes.
No. No. People on cable are not suddenly going to get Friends on the HBO channel. And
no, well, they'll be able to log into apps. That's going to be a whole different question of, like, what happens to the concept of the cable subscription. Do you still?
Yes.
This is going to be the next battle.
Man, no. A little thing called inertia will continue to reign supreme, and people who are perfectly fine with just having HBO and tuning to the HBO. So you're saying that that all the Spectrum cable, all the Comcasties, my parents are going to go to HBO on demand, and instead of just HBO programming, just suddenly all of the HBO Max catalog will be on there.
Barring arguments with the various ISPs, yeah, some version thereof. Like, this is about apps now. We're in the world where the app is what matters. It's not about. That's why the biggest battle right now is between Warner Brothers and Roku. Like, the battle is not between Warner Brothers and Spectrum. The battle is not between Warner Brothers and Comcast. It is between Warner Brothers and Roku.
Well, yeah, because they've already had that conversation, and by battle, it's definitely not a battle. It is a negotiation that is happening, and it most certainly will be resolved between now and Christmas. Both implicitly because they want everybody to watch Wonder Woman, and explicitly because I forgot what the quote was that we had on Cord Killers. Like, they flat out said, "We'll get it worked out. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
So I don't even know how to couch that as a battle, but man, yeah, in a world where, I mean,
think about this. You have covered for the last 10 years the ever eroding marketplace of the cable subscription.
Yeah.
That's just fact.
Yeah.
It forever
Also,
is
do you
eroding
know what the dominant way people still watch television is? 11 years into our journey of covering this, cable television. So you telling me in 3 years, all that's out the window and it's all apps, baby, and then you ride around on a skateboard. I'm not buying that.
We'll have to revisit. All right, Diamond Club, you're gonna have to clip this, and we're gonna have to revisit We're gonna have to revisit this in 5 years and examine. Should we make a stake bet on this
I,
one?
well,
Should-
okay, hold on. What we'll do is we'll get Justin Robert Young on the line. Hold on there, Justin. I know we figured this out before. I'm sure
I had
could do
to
it
I had to
again.
hang up and call back.
Yeah,
in.
hang up and call back. That'll
right.
do. So here's what's on the table, Justin. There you go. Now you're on. The proposal.
Can you mute Skype?
Yep, there it is. Boom.
Cool.
Right, I am calling back in.
So Meryl is convinced that within 5 years, all of HBO Max will no longer be called HBO Max. They're just going to call it HBO. And everyone who has HBO will have all of HBO Max. And that's that. You know what? Did you call in or did I call you?
You called me. You
yeah,
called me
that's
last
what it
time,
was.
so you got to call me.
I think that is insane because right now we have a word that means HBO and then a syllable that means HBO plus other stuff. And the idea that we would go to a world where everybody would collapse that down and that's just HBO seems insane.
I'm more on your side in that if it was going to change, I would suspect it would be a more like Warner Media new name that they, because but then again, they've already jackknifed that brand, right? They've already jackknifed HBO. HBO now no longer means boutique art house things and second run movies. It means a streaming service. So if you've already, Frankenstein that brand, then it would be odd to then further Frankenstein it. But then again, I guess to Meryl's point, it would actually just be simplifying it. Is that HBO is now Netflix. Netflix and HBO are the exact same thing, and that's what we want.
Yeah. Well, here, you two discuss it while I fuse your video streams.
So I get the Frankensteining argument. I really do.
Yeah. Meryl, can you mute your Skype?
Oh, yes, I can.
Oh,
sorry.
busted.
I do. So I see that argument, but I also just look at it and I go, it is about simplification. The one thing a brand always wants is to simplify their product down to an instantaneous reaction, right? Like right now, Doritos is running an ad campaign where they're not showing the logo, and they make a point of it saying, we're not going to tell you what the product is. We're just going to tell you about the product. Like when you think about triangle chips and nacho spicy cheese and the colors red and blue, you think, what is it? What do you think? And they just know you're thinking Doritos. Like that's what everyone wants to get to. I don't know why my camera's not showing up.
It's let me rewind and remind you that I told you two to talk so I could fix this.
Sorry. I didn't know that's what you're fixing. My bad. So anyway, they want to get to that. So right now, HBO and HBO Max are the same price. Where do you get one? You get the other. I have HBO, but wait, I can't watch Wonder Woman. Like they want to eliminate that complexity. And do I agree that? Do I agree that they could have solved this better by just naming HBO Max something different? Yes. Do I agree that a lot of this happened because they knew HBO was going to be the driving force of HBO Max, and that thus meant they could not price HBO Max lower than HBO, so they wanted to capitalize on the HBO brand? Yes. But now it's about, okay, where do we go from here? And from here,
let me give you this version of my final closing argument. Your Honor, Doritos, they're triangles and they come in flavors and they're corn chips. I present Exhibit A. Here are Munchies. Munchies is a bunch of different chips, including Doritos. So Doritos remain Doritos. They're just surrounded by other stuff. If I want just the triangle chips, I buy Doritos. If I want that and a bunch of other garbage, I buy Munchies. Your Honor, Meryl Barr is claiming that eventually Munchies will be called Doritos. I rest my case.
All right, here's my confidence.
Well,
Ready?
but hold on. In that case, I think part of what Meryl is saying is that Munchies in this case would be called Doritos Max.
Correct.
And that eventually they would simplify it and flatten it. Now, that being said, I'm going to step aside because Meryl entering into a conversation about branding with Brian Brushwood, seems like among the most foolhardy things that anybody could ever do, because
I mean,
Brian,
and you're right, because you're right. To make a perfect parallel, Munchies would have to be called Doritos Max, which would be a dumb idea. You should probably
Yes.
call it Munchies and not Doritos Max. But we live in the timeline where somebody released Munchies and called
Yeah.
it Doritos Max.
I think yeah, that's the biggest thing here. The biggest thing here is that we can all agree that it's awkward and weird and stupid that product is called HBO Max.
Yes, agreed, 100%. Which is why I'm saying now they're going to start thinking about where we go from here. How do we course correct? How do we make it better? And the way they're going to make it better is just by dropping the Max and then dropping the standalone HBO and making everything HBO.
That's
Like
so,
that.
That's.
So
I mean,
here's my
man, my
bet. Today-
Munchies argument is fucking great.
Diamond Club, Diamond Club, mark it on the calendars. Today's December 10th, 2020.
Yeah, you
So,
got to set a
by-
deadline. We're black and white.
let's just lay out the rest of that year. So by the December 31, 2022, we will have or know that it is happening. HBO Max becoming HBO stake bet. My first official Diamond Club stake bet.
Okay, but sorry, what date?
So by December 31st, 2025, we will know, or it will have already happened,
All right,
that HBO Max is
to be
becoming
clear,
HBO.
them not calling it HBO Max is not your called shot. Your called shot is everything collapses to one thing called HBO.
As long as we agree that that the bet is satisfied, as long as they make the announcement they're doing it. They
Okay.
don't have to have done it by that day, but they will
Also,
make the
I'm
announcement.
losing my goddamn mind because Tensor Guy I thought was doing a bit, but he said the same thing everyone says, which is, guys, I don't see what the big deal is. It's HBO plus Cinemax. That's what it is.
But it's
no,
not.
it's
Yeah.
definitely not.
that.
And everyone who says that oh, you're fucking insane. You're all insane. You're all insane. And that just goes to show what a bad idea it is. Like, you
Yeah.
couldn't be more wrong.
So yes, stake bet by December 31, 2025. We will know that HBO
I'm
Max is
sorry.
coming.
As the
What?
commissioner of stake bets, having paid out the most stake bets, I'm gonna need you to shorten up that time frame, Meryl. Like I appreciate that you want to give yourself the widest possible leeway, but come on.
Michael, but
We're
my
not
call
on a
shot this whole-
we're not on a goddamn generation ship space arc, all right? Like we
My
can't
call-
just forward 5 years. Oh,
No,
all
but
right.
my
Here.
call.
Stake bet, Brian. In 2050, everyone will subside on paste. Not even like ground up food, actual glue. Like stake bet. No, you gotta
Well, we
either
do run to
raise.
Rome because my called shot. This whole conversation has been within 5 years is when the decision will be made. To get
Okay,
back into
cool. Then get bold and say it's 2.
it. I'm not. That
This is
bold.
what we like to call having it pay off in any kind of meaningful way.
Yeah. Well, okay. Maybe if you think of something that of a different variation of it, God, Munchies will never be called Doritos Plus.
Hey Jerry, what do you think about Pixar getting into TV series?
I think Disney is moving toward TV. They understand that Mandalorian basically allowed them to succeed where HBO has thus far not. Their greatest success is the fact that unlike HBO Max, Disney, recognizable brand name, they were immediately able to cobble together like, oh, what's on Disney Plus? Star Wars, Marvel, Simpsons. Like those are the things. Those were in all the iconography. That was the value. So, what can they do to plus the plus? You know, pump out these television series. They get more people involved. They now have enough star power on all these, and Pixar, specifically through their short film brands and stuff like that, like they've got room to do it. I think it's a smart move. It's a little bullish considering they want to put out like 10 Star Wars series and like 15 Marvel series in the next like 3 years. That's some pretty wall to wall fucking wire to wire shit.
So this is what I said at the top of this before you came in that everything Disney is announcing today sounds like the announcements of a number one placer that thinks they're just always going to be number one. Like that's where this all started. Was like because the other big thing is they announced that Raya and the Last Dragon, which is the upcoming Disney animated one, not the Pixar one, but the Disney animated one, that's going to be done on the Mulan model now, which is day and date, theaters and Disney Plus premium access, so the additional like $30 or whatever.
Yeah.
And which means they're not going to. Which means if you're making that announcement, you're not making the HBO Max announcement of moving the
No.
entire slate to day and date for the subscription fee. So there, I don't know. I feel like this is a future. Time will tell if they were right, but this is you're making a lot of decisions based on hoping you're always going to be number one.
I mean, they're not number one.
They're aiming. It appears to me that they have a credible case to aim to be number two. Netflix remains Coke. They become Pepsi. And HBO Max is, Sam's Choice Cola or whatever, like
Dr. Pepper,
the value brand.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're Rookie of the Year. They're promising. I think that they can definitely, they can be Pepsi. They're always going to be Disney. But yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. To be honest, it sounds like to me they're doing a Netflix. Do you think Netflix did love the idea of having Marvel as a partner so they could make Marvel shows? They tried to build their own little universe. And I'll bet you that we're going to see another Punisher. We're probably going to see another Daredevil. We're probably going to see another version of a lot of these characters as they populate through Disney, especially if they're looking to do 15 fucking Marvel series in the next 2 years. Of course, all these characters in IP are going to come back.
I'm only going to acknowledge this because he's putting so much effort into the bit, but JDS3K has been constantly just making 5-year predictions. He said that in 5 years, Night Attack will be called NSFW show, that Pepsi Max will be called just Pepsi in 5 years.
I do love the fact that in lieu of actual movies coming out, the entire movie industry is just Spider-Man 3 rumors.
Yeah,
like that is essentially its own ecosystem.
That's the new meme.
If you actually sold tickets to Spider-Man 3 rumors, I feel like people would buy them. If you just said $5 for a special Zoom call where we're all going to reveal Spider-Man 3 rumors, people would do it because that's the only thing that anybody's talking about right now.
Yeah, and my favorite so far.
And God knows when that fucking movie's gonna come out.
Yeah,
that movie might come out before Meryl's bullshit bet pays off.
I've been out of the loop on this. Is this continuing the Andrew Garfield thread?
It's an expanded. So now what we know from the trades is what's his name? Molina. Whatever, I forgot his name.
Alfred Molina, Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2.
He will be in it, and that's confirmed. But then the next day, some bullshit blog said, "Oh, and Matt Murdock from the Netflix shows Charlie Cox is going to be in Spider-Man 3 as Peter Parker's lawyer." And no one believes that at all because it's the place reporting it is just trash. But now it started a meme. My favorite so far has been Calculon to return as Calculon in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it leads into the idea that like the next big arc for Marvel is multiverses now that they have the wherewithal to make deals and outright own the intellectual property for Fox, that, we're going to see all these returns of these versions of the old characters. And so Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, that it's going to be its own little weird Into the Spider-Verse
live action
kind of plot line. Yeah. Which I think if the rumor that the villain is going to be Kraven the Hunter, and now all of a sudden all these other villains are there, and like I think you could do a really fucking cool Spider-Man story.
How did Kraven the Hunter get the name that is a synonym for terrified nothing of a person?
I don't know. Probably
Like-
Stan Lee was drunk or something. He's like, we'll call him Craven. Now, you might think he's cowardly, but he's very, very brave. Anyway, I'm going to sleep this off. And he just falls flat on his face.
Greetings, true believers. There's one who doesn't true believe, and he's Craven.
And he's Craven. And the camera slowly pans down, and it's revealed that he's pissed his pants.
Oh, man.
I'm super drunk, Stan Lee. My voice doesn't change.
God.
I mean, I don't get there's a weird fandom love for Craven I never understood. Like I even get Morbius to an extent because goth kids, right? So I get Morbius being a fan
my
favorite.
favorite version of Craven was in Ultimate Spider-Man. They represented him as, I guess it would have been popular at the time, but they were kind of riffing on almost a crocodile hunter thing. He had a reality TV show, and he was sort of a paper tiger, but his secret that was that he could actually wrestle real tigers.
Yeah.
That seemed fun.
I don't know. I've always liked the idea of Craven mostly because it's a very realistic way that a villain could come into orbit with Spider-Man. Like if he is this world's most dangerous game, like crazy hunter guy, that it's like you don't need Spider-Man to accidentally, arrest some petty thug that eventually becomes Sandman. It doesn't have to be very convoluted. It's just some dude in Johannesburg who's like picking up the New York Times and is like, what the fuck? There's a crazy Spider-Man? Book my ticket. I'm going to kill this fucker. Like, I think that it's a very dead simple idea to get a clever supervillain into the story.
Yeah. Well, now I'm thinking about it. Craven was never like Robin Banks or anything, right? Like,
no, he just wanted to kill
yeah.
Spider-Man because he liked killing things, and Spider-Man's a really cool thing to kill.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they were they were always
JDS3K. South African Sams are Craven in 5 years.
Mock. Have you read The Power of One, Mock?
Oh, fucking prawns.
They pissed on that boy, Mock. They pissed on that boy.
the downside, and Brian, you'll understand this because you've been screaming about the death of cable for 10 years, and it's only now starting to happen. When you look at this kind of thing, you always know, like, I'm gonna be right, but I also know that I'm not gonna be right soon enough for anyone to accept that I was right.
Oh,
So you just
about Spider-Man looking good as a head mounted on a wall
in 5 years, yes.
in 5 years in South Africa.
But it's just like that is one of the, like, I called a lot of shots when I was still at Forbes and turned out to be right on most of them, but it took the amount of time I thought it was going to take, which was long enough for people to say, long enough for everyone to go, you're wrong in the immediate, and for me to stay wrong until I wasn't wrong. Like,
Look,
and it's just like I knew it was going to be that way.
Meryl, let me hip you to a little fucking secret when it comes to making bold predictions. Nobody fucking remembers the time frame. If you said HBO Max is going to be called HBO in the next 5 minutes,
Right.
like somebody might say, oh, 5 minutes is up, Meryl, eat shit. But when it became HBO, you would get a bunch of tweets saying, holy shit, Meryl was right. It doesn't matter whether it happened in 2 weeks or 2 years or 20 years. All you have to do is loudly and chestily say, I guarantee that this is going to be called HBO and not HBO Max. And nobody gives a fuck. Like, the point is to make a time frame where people are excited. Everyone remembers the hits. Everyone forgets the misses. It's the reason I've been doing this on fucking politics for forever. Like, at this point, like I've said out and out, Kim Kardashian is going to run for president in 2024. If Kim Kardashian ever runs for president, I'm going to get 100% of the credit. It doesn't matter whether or not that she doesn't do it in 2024. It's just that I pissed on the idea. My corner is Kim Kardashian's going to run for president. Spoiler alert for tomorrow's PX3. I said that that Mayor Pete's going to be Secretary of State. Like that's my prediction, is that he's going to be Secretary of State by 2024. Doesn't matter if it's by 2024. If he's ever Secretary of State, I'm going to get 100% of the credit. So just say the thing, put a time frame on it so it seems exciting when you say it, and then let nature run its course.
Yeah. All right, we got Good. We got
We got
some
time.
time. Yeah. What any more news from the Disney announcement?
Not yet. The only other big thing is now you'll be able to get the ad-free Hulu with that bundle they do for an additional $6. That's it. That's like the last of it.
Oh, that's not bad.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be curious to see where Disney goes, considering how much they just had a bloodbath firing wise, like throughout like the entire company, just a huge purge
And
of headcount.
Did they blame that all on just 2020 box office shenanigans or
Box office and theme park? I mean, they
Oh, of
basically had
course.
a massive fucking generator of revenue for them totally go away and become illegal in California, for example. Like, and they don't know when. I mean, who knows when fucking Gavin's gonna let, they're shutting down outdoor patio dining. Like, who knows when the fucking teacups are gonna spin again?
holy cow, Codes from Home is saying R.I.P. Claire Malone at 5:38. Did Claire Malone pass away?
She did die.
Oh,
No, she
okay.
got fired.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Some of us, see R.I.P. and think something else.
That's I know where. Yeah, Codes from Home. Just make sure that you flip those messages next time. Just say Claire Malone was fired, R.I.P. Instead of leading with R.I.P.
The interesting thing about this year on executive front is pretty much there's not a studio untouched by massive executive shakeup, and it's like it was coming either way, pandemic or not, because everyone's now consolidating their models into a streaming market and deciding who is now a redundant executive and who isn't. Like this was
I think, people have said that a lot with this pandemic, that it's like, oh, these are trends that were happening. And certainly that's undeniable. But I do think that we're getting a little bit in over our skis when we're like, this was inevitable. It's like, yeah, we jumped like 5 years in 9 months. So let's imagine that, yes, these things were slow developing, and then all of a sudden it just flash hit. It's like, yes, that's hitting. There's the difference between, oh, we might hit a cement wall in 5 years and the cement wall crushing your face and skull in 5 seconds.
Yeah, that I would agree with you on that for sure. Oh, here's something we can talk about. I recently rewatched Top Gun, which I had not watched in a few years, because a friend gifted me his HDR remaster.
I think the last time I watched it was 3 or 4 years ago, and I was really genuinely confused. Like, is this even a story? Like, is this just a bunch of 3-minute vignettes? No, I had kind of a similar thing with Fletch when I watched it just 2 nights ago.
It's a sports movie. That's the way you have to look at Top Gun, is the thing I'm coming around on. It's like it's about a guy who is in a sport who wants to become the top person in that sport. The sport just happens to be flying jet planes. And then he becomes then he never really achieves being the top guy because he quits after his friend suffers a terrible accident on the field. And then he ends up like, all right, you're going back to, where you came from, kid. And then he goes back and becomes top dog in a different way because he kills all of the enemy fighter jets at the end of the movie. And it's like, that's the only, like, because you're right, Top Gun is not, it's barely a story. It's fun to watch because I was like, I'm just gonna turn on. I only turned on because like I want to watch the opening credits because I just felt like I felt like
I do that trick on my kids all the time. Like, you don't have to watch a movie, just the first 5 minutes,
right?
And they're like, Dad, we're on to you.
And then I just fell into it, like, and just was like, I'm just gonna keep watching. Like, Jerry, when was the last time you watched Top Gun?
Couldn't tell you, brother. I mean,
I do know this much. I was drinking a Pepsi while I did.
I was a kid.
But yeah, Top Gun, like, well, yeah, Top Gun, good movie. But it's I don't know. I found this interesting read on it this time. That's like, oh, it's a sports movie. Fascinating. That was.
Yeah. It. Okay.
What?
Do you have any hopes for Top Gun 2?
Back and forth, because I mean, I would have been more interested because originally they were doing it with Tony Scott at the time of his suicide. So I would have been very much more.
Sorry, Tony Scott is
the director of the first movie.
Of the first.
Okay,
time.
but wasn't it
Ridley's brother?
Was it a Bruckheimer movie?
It was a Bruckheimer. They're doing it with Bruckheimer producing. Tony Scott was going to direct it. And I think Macquarie was going to be writing it. And then Tony Scott passed, and then went on the shelf for a while, and now they've picked up Joseph Kaczynski, who is the guy who did the Tron Legacy, and then did Oblivion. And the thing about Kaczynski is his movies look amazing. The dude's eye is stunning. Can't tell a story for shit. So I am cautiously optimistic because they did have Macquarie producing this one, and Christopher Macquarie is writing the script. So I
Can you confirm or deny that Top Gun 3 will be out within 5 years?
This will be the new meme. But but I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll see.
All right,
I want to love it.
Let me just throw this out here. What is a movie that you are fond of and you know that you like, but you're afraid to watch again for fear of seeing it be not as good as you remember it? Because for the record, Fletch, much less good than I remember it. And
I suspect comedies have to top that list, right? Because comedies are such a zeitgeisty kind of moment, especially like referential comedies and
timing changes as well. Like I don't know how good Airplane holds up now. Like would
Airplane is
it?
actually Airplane's a curious one because it's so gag dependent that it's like that might actually age better than, let's say, like a Will Ferrell or Judd Apatow movie or something like that, where those were very much just archetypes that were of that moment, and they were shooting stars of acting talent that you were like excited to see your friends again. Whereas like at the end of the day, slapping an old woman is always going to be funny, right? Like an Airplane is like filled with that level of like, all right, it's wackadoodle visual gags and stuff like that, one after another.
You know what? Dogma. Because I have this fond childhood memory of Dogma, of like it was almost always on Comedy Central at 7 a.m. And I would always wake up early, and then I would turn it on, and I would always end up starting it right when Metatron introduced herself to Bethany, and then was like, and then she puts him out with the fire extinguisher because he's on fire. It's like I don't know. Like, I don't know if the giant poop monster would hold up now. Like, I don't know. And
I got news for you. It didn't hold up in the fucking 90s when it first came out either.
I did I did dig the, kind of transgressive playing with religious, especially this is a time that people were really fired up about.
Yeah, so
this is back when people cared about religions.
Well, I mean, this is like that's why I loved it. I'm worried about watching it now if it would hold up. The funny thing is you can't watch it right now unless you find this one random. I used to have a Blu-ray of it, but I sold it off not caring, and then I found out the Blu-rays were out of print because Weinstein personally owns that movie. So it's now just in the heap with him down in the cell.
Oh wow.
Wow. The Kevin Smith told a story where basically Weinstein came to him a few years ago and said, I think it's time for a Dogma 2. And he was like, great, I'll go write it. And then the next day, the New York Times piece hit.
Oh, Jesus.
No way.
Or like the next week, it was like a very short amount of time passed.
Yeah,
and then
sure.
went between, hey, let's do Dogma 2 and hey, I'm a sexual predator. And
has Kevin Smith talked about like his?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess
there's not much that Kevin Smith doesn't talk about,
right?
But I think I mostly heard him talk about it in reference to getting the rights to do like a Mallrats 2 and stuff like that. That he had like written various scripts and gone back and forth with him and his brother, with Weinstein and his brother. But yeah, I could only imagine that, especially for such an open, empathetic guy like Kevin Smith, he had to feel like total dog shit.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Oh yeah, what you got?
Breaking FDA advisory committee recommends FDA approval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, voting 17-4.
Yeah.
So there's emergency approval.
Yeah.
Basically, there's going to
Yes.
be planes leaving tonight and tomorrow, and you will see video over the weekend of people getting needles in their arms. By the way, in the UK, you want to know who the first person to get the vaccine was?
I'm gonna say
The
silent because
doctor.
I know the answer because I heard the episode already. So,
Yeah,
but it's
Bill
good.
Shakespeare.
Oh, really?
The guy named William Shakespeare from wherever fucking William Shakespeare is from. They fucking he goes by Bill.
That's
But
awesome.
all I could think of was that the motivational speaker Matt Foley sketch where he's just looking at David Spade. And he's like, "Is that Bill Shakespeare over there?" And it's like, "Oh no, there he is. He's getting a fucking vaccine."
Now that's something that holds up. I've went and rewatched that a handful of times in the last couple of years. That sketch holds up very well.
Yeah, because it's a supernova of physical comedy. There's a reason why all the Belushi stuff, like the no Coke Pepsi and ninja or samurai shit, like physical comedy. There's a reason why it's like if you fall down on your face and shit your pants in front of a Roman soldier and then do it in front of a TikTok teen, they're both gonna laugh because it's universally funny.
Yeah.
Forever.
Especially if you poop your pants and fart.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so you are correct, Meryl, that season 2 of Community
I was just
gets
about
very
to ask
good.
if you got there yet. Yeah, how far in
Yeah,
are you?
we're 4 or 5 episodes in, and it's getting to be a challenge because I'm so busy, and the whole family is sort of like, you got to make it. We all like to gather together to watch, but we're getting real close to some breathing room. But yeah, no,
Keep an eye on
it's
the
great.
backgrounds.
It's amazing. I mean, I saw the one episode where they tell an entire self-contained Abed delivers a baby story, and I assume there'll be more of that. That either.
Oh, you saw that one? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was like the second episode of the season.
Oh, I thought that happened. Later in the season.
Yeah, maybe there's something else that happens, but yeah.
But yeah, so you knew what I was talking about then. Okay.
Oh, no, I hadn't seen it at the time.
You now know what I was talking
Yes,
about.
yes, yeah.
It's funny because you watch that build up because you know where that's set up, right?
No.
So the episode, I do not remember which episode, where there's an episode where Abed gets on the PA and yells out to the entire school, no one used the condoms. Don't.
Oh,
right? And then
got
you
it.
in
Yeah.
the background watch that the dude you see later chuck the condom away in the background while he's sitting next to that girl.
That's great.
And then you realize it was set up the whole time.
That's so good.
Yeah. Like that's that Dan Harmon shit where it's like that's that whole rewatchability thing that some guys like Dan Harmon like to flush into their episodes of like, I'm that good. Like what?
Right on, man. Well, Justin, you got anything else going on in your world?
Seeing this on Twitter, fucking strange bedfellows in Congress. They say that there's no cooperation, but Republican firebrand Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders currently on the floor teaming up for another round of $1,200 stimulus checks.
Oh, wow.
Is the $600 one dead? Or is that still possibly happening?
Nobody knows right now. There's the only thing that's kind of clear is that they've sort of zeroed in on a like sub-trillion-dollar goal. The question is exactly how sub-trillion-dollars and whether or not it includes $600 or no direct payments. The direct payments are more controversial, but also we just had a bad jobs report today, or an unemployment report, not a jobs report. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, man, I guess that's about it. Anyone, nobody's got anything else, right?
No.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a thing I'm happy about is.
Yeah. What are you happy about?
In 24 hours, it'll be past the 24 hours leading up to 24 hours from now. We're really down to the wire with this big release, and
oh yeah. No, I mean, I think for all the VIPs that got their cool email, you know that there's some cool stuff coming up for scam stuff. But
exactly,
yeah, you got a big announcement coming up.
Between that and the steak I'm going to eat 5 years from now, it's going to be amazing. Good
Oh
to-
my God, dude.
That
5
bet
years
was
from
not-
now. Yeah, it's yeah. But I'll tell you what I'm excited for is in 5 years we can extend the bet another 5 years, but it can only be upped in 5-year increments. The most excitement you could ever think of. Just think of, hey Meryl, I'm going to give you $10,000 in 5 years. Like, see how exciting that was.
See how
and
much
then
better it got
less
when you
exciting?
heard.
Yeah.
All right, look, we'll see you
I
guys.
look forward in 5 years to still being ashamed over this bit.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll see you guys.
Happy hour. Night Attacks Happy Hour. Night Attacks Happy Hour.